Hello, welcome to the Booktube Chicks Book Club. My name is Chloe, you're on my channel, and tonight we are talking about our August book, which was Red Card by Maren Moore. As usual, I'm here with my co-host Kathleen, who's going to introduce herself in just a moment. But if you've never been to one of our live shows before, the way that it works is for the first 5 to 10 minutes or so, we're just going to do introductions and spoiler-free thoughts on the book. And then for the next half hour or so after that, we will do spoiler discussion. So, Kat, if you want to go ahead and start.
Yes. Hi, I'm Kathleen. My channel is for the love of books. I'm more active on Instagram. Um, I did not like this book. I rated it 2. This book was just so repetitive. Like, not necessarily that the story itself was repetitive, as in I've read this book before in a million other books. Um, the story's the same. I'm getting, to be honest, I'm getting tired of these college sports romances because they all have the same formula. And if you like that formula, then you will like this book, where you have like this big strong player, and he's kind of like got a dark past, blah blah blah, and you have this bubbly cheery girl, and she tries to break him out of his shell or try to help him gain more friends. It's the same formula repeated, watered down on every single of these types of romance books. um so I just got irritated reading this book. I uh Killian, I think that's his name. He's the main love interest. He was fine for the most part. As I said, I've read him a million other times in other books. Rory, she irritated me because again, she's just this. Um, I just read her character every other book, and it just felt like I'm reading a YA book, just with a lot of sex in it. And it's just the story is juvenile, the characters are juvenile, and at some point it got interesting, like the whole thing with his past coming back, and towards the end, things happen that made the story a little bit more interesting, and that's probably why I didn't give it a 1. But I'm just getting bored of these books having the exact same storyline with different characters' names. So that's me.
I finished this book late last night, and I am settling on a 3.5. I was kind of going between a 3.5 and a 4. But ultimately, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I have read this book before, or this formula of a book, and I actually read a very similar book that involved like rugby. He was from Ireland, all that, just a couple of months ago. So, um, definitely it's a book that I have read before, or a formula that I have read before, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I just wasn't as fully immersed in this book as I have been in other romance books. That being said, this is my first book from Maren Moore. I do think I'll read more from Maren Moore. This is supposedly the first in a series. So I will probably continue on with the series whenever that comes out. Also, this is unrelated, and I don't really know why, considering they're holding a ball on the front. But when I got this book, like last year, I thought it was a baseball book. I don't know why. Maybe she has a baseball book and I just don't know it. But I thought that this was one, and it's not. Um, but yeah, it's a lot of what you said. It's the formula that is very repetitive right now. And I think we'll go ahead and just pivot straight into spoilers to discuss that. I felt like I was 40% through this book, and I feel like I felt like I had just started the book. And I think maybe that's part of why I was like, I don't know if I'm going to get this done on time.
Like for me personally, the book read fast, but again, I also felt like I was reading the same book that I've read 100 million times already since I started reading more romance, and like I don't mind, like if you're and I'm sure there are people who enjoy this formula and they want to get more of it, even if it's the same story over and over again. I know I have certain books where the formula is the same, and I just enjoy the heck out of it. I don't know why. Um, so I understand why these books are getting published. So I understand there is a market out there, and I'm sure a lot of people. This book actually has a high rating. I think it's like 3.8 something, and that's for Goodreads. That's considered, for me personally, is considered a very high rating. So people are enjoying this book. I just feel like I'm reading because the sports romance is so big right now because of
Mhm.
Heated Rivalry that came out a few months ago, um, on HBO, and it was based off of a book. So that I feel like that really put sports romance into the spotlight. Um, and so I understand why sports romance got such a huge got a lot of attention recently, but I just feel like this book had nothing special about it. Yeah, the ending got interesting with him being accused of um doing drugs again and having like a positive drug test, and but I also feel like that got resolved really, really fast. I feel like that
Literally
whole
within 2
thing.
chapters.
Yeah, I was gonna say that whole thing happened within like 2 or 3 chapters and it got resolved. So, um, I don't know. I just wish she put something different into the formula, you know what I mean? Instead of like watering down the formula and just writing a book on it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you know me, I eat up romance books. It's 95% of what I read. And this is the first time probably in a while that I've like felt like the formula is repetitive. This year I have read a lot of sports romance, but it's mostly been hockey because I finished the Heated Rivalry series. Um, but yeah, I definitely got the vibe. Um, a couple months ago, I actually read oh shoot, I can't even remember what it's called now. Hold on, Bad Boy Era. That's what it was. Bad Boy Era by Amy Dawes, which also came out a couple months ago. So this book came out first, but they both have similar formulas. And like the guys are rugby players. The one in Bad Boy Era is from Ireland. This one is from England. They both come to America for some reason. Um, but I when I was listening to the audiobook for this too, and I texted you about it, I did not like the male narrators for this one. And it's because I loved the male narrator for Bad Boy Era with his Irish accent that was super hot. And this one was just not doing it for me.
I have to say about the cover,
Mhm.
the girl, she looks like that actress that plays Kitty in the To All the Boys I Loved Before. She looks exactly for me, she looks
Yeah,
so
I could
much
see
like that
that.
actress.
Like less
And then
Asian.
the boy and then the guy, I'm assuming that's Killian.
Yeah.
He's definitely does not look like how I imagined him.
Same. His eyebrows on here are a little too severe.
Yeah, yeah, I was thinking of like I don't know. I was thinking, I don't know. He's just not how when I was reading the book, not how I imagined him, especially because the narrator made him sound a little like he had such a
Yeah.
deep voice, and if to me
Mhm.
it made him seem older. So I don't know. I imagined him differently.
I felt like his the narrator made him seem more like scrawny nerd boy. Does that make sense? It's like a vibe that I just was like, I'm not getting rugby from this.
Yeah.
Um oh shoot, what was I gonna talk about? Um I feel like the plot line of this or the main like situation is that they're trying to help each other out. She needs to learn how to flirt and interact with guys in a non-friendship way. He needs to really like be in
Play
good
nice with
graces,
others. Yeah.
play nice with the team, be in good
Yeah.
graces because he's brand new. He's coming in halfway through the season. Um, again, seen the formula before, but I feel like that plot line kind of just got pushed to the wayside by like 50% through the book, let's say. Because they have a couple of situations where she's practicing with flirting, and they have one get together with the team to try and get Killian in good graces. But I feel like after these two started hooking up, nobody cared
Yeah.
anymore. Like the plot line was pushed to the side. It was resolved too simply, too cleanly.
And it's like you
Obviously not.
said, once they had the first hookup, it was hookup after hookup, which is
This book
fine.
was horny.
But that, yeah, I agree with what you said that like that the initial main plot line kind of got forgotten, and then we had the smutty part of the book that took up a lot of time, and then we had like the few little chapters at the end
Mhm.
that dealt with him being accused of taking drugs again.
Yeah.
And that was the essence of the plot of this whole book.
Yeah. Which like the smuttiness is not a bad thing, but it
No.
was just like the whole plot was abandoned. We did have one little hiccup with his sister that we were
Yeah,
concerned about. We learned more about his background. His parents or his mom died in a car accident, and he is like the sole provider for him and his sister, um, things like that. Oh, and he turned to drugs. He in his grief.
right.
So we get more of his backstory, but that's around like 70% already in the book. Um, so I also feel like I wanted a little more like pushback from her dad. Her dad is the rugby team coach for background, and all of a sudden this player on his team is dating his daughter, like his only child. I feel like there should have been a little more pushback, but he trusts his daughter, so
Yeah, but at the end of the day, she's also still, even though she's an adult, she's also still really, really young.
yeah.
And from the sounds of it, it sounds like this is like her first serious relationship.
Mhm.
Um, and so I agree with you. I feel like the dad could have given them a little bit more grief than we
Mhm.
got.
Yeah.
But again, I this is supposed to be like a lighthearted sports romance book. Um, and again, it's following that formula, and there's not, and again, the book was already what 350-ish pages. So it's already long enough for a contemporary romance. So I think she's trying to write in more drama, I think would have made the book too long.
Yeah, that's true. I feel like in order to keep you from being burned out on romance, we need to pivot your subgenre.
I don't know. I don't know what it was about this book. It just made me irritated because I felt like I read like this exact book like
Mhm.
3, 4 times already.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what we were talking about at like IRL book club is that it like there's a lot of just repetitive stuff right now and it works. Obviously they're successful for a reason. Um, but yeah, we're just picking up like a lot of the
And
same
I'm
thing.
like, I don't want to hate on the author at all.
Mm-mm.
I think for the most part, I think the book was good.
Yeah.
I liked the story itself. There were parts that I was really invested in. And like I said, the formula exists because it works. And,
Mhm.
she's probably sold a ton of books, other books with the same formula had told, because there are people out there who enjoy the formula and will eat this up and will probably read the next book that's exactly the same with maybe a few variations, and they'll eat that up too and they'll love it, because I know I have books that have the same plot line every time, but I enjoy the heck out of it because it's just fun to read.
Mhm.
It scratches that itch, and this book will probably scratch the itch for somebody. But I'm like, I feel like I need to, it's kind of like what you say, you need a palate cleanser. I
Palate
need a palate
cleanse.
cleanser from these sports romances.
Well, you said you started Divergent today as your reread, so there's your
Yeah.
palate cleanse.
uh,
Yeah, and like I'm thinking to like some of the books because you and I are in this is our third book club together. So you and I read a lot of the same books for that. And I'm thinking about like some other books that we're picking up in the next couple of weeks. And um I feel like one of them is going to be a little bit more hard hitting, but I'm not sure in what way. I can't speak for the IRL book club because I won't be there, so I'm not reading the book. And then and then for next month for this book club, honestly could go either way. So, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Um, basically, would you say you're open to reading more from this author?
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
I would read it again. I think she for the form, I think I'm just tired of the formula, but I don't necessarily am hating on the author. I think she did a good job as far as writing out this particular sports romance with I'm sorry, not teenager, college age kids. Um,
Maybe
and
you need like a paranormal romance or something.
yeah,
Just to spice it up a little bit, switch it up.
yeah. Um, but yeah, I liked it. Uh, as far as like the author and her writing and her creating the story, I did like that part. So,
I actually have another book from this author that I got before this one, and I didn't even realize. I think do you remember when you and I went to that the silent reading hour and like book swap thing up by you the first
oh
time?
yeah,
I got a book by Maren Moore there
oh, okay,
in the swap, and I didn't even realize it until like much later on that it was the same author as this book. And it's a Christmas book. It's not very long. I think the audiobook is like 4 hours. Um, but also recently on Bookstagram, I think Maren Moore has a different sports book coming out called The Casanova Complex. I think it's hockey because I have seen that popping up everywhere recently. I don't even know if it's out yet. Um, but I've seen a lot of that. Well, it must be out because the first book is a different title. So,
also, one thing about sports romance I wish I saw more of, and I understand we only have like 300 to 350 pages to work with, so they only
mhm.
have so much that they could put in. I wish I saw more of the sport. You know what I mean? I never
Yeah,
read
yeah,
any of the heated rivalry books. I never read that, but the show, you show a lot of the
mhm,
like the actual sports aspect
yeah.
of a sports romance. So I kind of liked that. But again, I realize it's a book. You only have so much space to work with.
Well,
But
this was dual POV. There's no reason why we couldn't have seen that.
yeah.
Because the heated rivalry books are also dual POV, but they're following at least one of those POVs is a player. So
Yeah.
we're seeing a lot of that too. And kind of like on the subject of like the pages and the like what we're working with here, there was a trend a couple of years ago. I feel like it's kind of still a little bit of a trend, but it's on the downward slope of really thick, like 500-page romance books. Um,
Oh,
literally I'm looking at a shelf of them right now. Lucy Score does a lot of those. Lauren Asher does a lot of those where they're just thicker books. And people hate on that, but I don't like it doesn't bother me. Like for me, like
I
sometimes I'll
feel
be
like
like,
once you get to the 500-page range, you start becoming like a fantasy book because we you know
yeah,
to expect a long story
mhm,
with a fantasy book, you know?
yeah. I guess it just depends on what's going on.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It doesn't like it didn't bother me like it bothered other people. People get pissy about it. Okay. Reading my review that I wrote this morning to see if there's anything else I wanted to talk about. Um wow, I'm just seeing that I spelled college wrong. I said collage and it didn't autocorrect me. Let me fix that. Does college have two L's or it just looks weird? Okay.
Yes, it's 2L.
It just looks really weird. Um
So is this your first book that you've read by this author?
yes.
Okay.
Um I actually got this book at Romantically Yours or Romantically Ever After. It was in Orlando last year,
Oh,
like me
okay.
and Maria and some of the people went and I got this book there and I met the author. The funny thing is though, I met the author and I remember her face and everything and I looked at the back and I was like, that's not the same person I met. But it is. It's just I was just like, are you sure?
Uh,
Um, but like I'm open to reading more from this author. She's definitely gotten more popular as the years have gone on. I want to pick up that Christmas book that I got. I know I checked out the audiobook on Hoopla since it was only like 4 hours, but I haven't gotten to it yet. So maybe. I don't know. I was doing this whole like Christmas in July, like trying to read Christmas books thing.
does she only write she doesn't only write sports romance,
I
right?
don't think so because the Christmas one I think is Small Town. She's got
Okay.
this one. I think she's got a hockey series and I saw another sports series, but I don't know what it is. I want to say that this is her first one that was traditionally published because she has a lot of
Oh,
indie stuff.
okay. Okay.
Um, but she has a bunch of stuff out. Okay, the Christmas one that I have is called The Mistletoe Bet. And it's the first in a series called Strawberry Hollow. I think they're both Christmas books. And it's only 3.5 hours, so that's not too bad.
Okay. Yeah, I would read from this author again. And I think I would read something else by her that's not a sports romance.
Like a Christmas book.
And then see how I feel, and then come back to maybe her other books. But yeah, I don't like writing off authors just because of one
Yeah,
book that I didn't enjoy. So
depends for me. Sometimes I do. Sometimes you're
two
like,
books. If I hate two books, then probably. But one book, I wouldn't write it off.
yeah. I think it's like I'm really behind on YouTube videos, but like Kayla from Books and Lala, for a little bit was doing like the third time's a charm. So if she had a third book that she really liked from an author and she had 3 books that she liked from them, they were considered a favorite. Or if she
Oh,
disliked a third book, then she was just writing them off and she was like, done with them.
I feel like three times is
It's
too many
hard.
chances. Yeah.
There on the flip side, there's some authors that like I love books from and then they just kind of die off for me. Like Divergent, we're both reading that, so that's a really good example. Uh Veronica Roth, huge with Divergent, and then she had a couple of other books post Divergent and I read like one or two of them and I was just like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But now she's coming back, so I don't know, we'll see.
I feel
Um
like some authors like will always like be successful in everything that they write,
mhm.
but I feel like some authors also peak at whatever their most popular books are, like
Yeah.
Veronica Roth. So I feel like I've read some of her other books and I think that they're really great, but as far as popularity, they
Mhm.
never peaked Divergent popularity.
I think I've also just like outgrown a lot of that stuff too, because like when Divergent was coming out, and I mean, this was 13 years ago, um, dystopian was the shit. Like that was the thing. We were reading
Yeah, that's true.
Divergent, we were reading uh Legend by Marie Lu. We were
The
reading
Hunger
so
Games,
much
yeah.
stuff. The Hunger Games, yeah. I mean, the Hunger Games will always just be a classic at this point. Um, and then I don't know, somewhere around like 2018, 2019, I like pivoted into adult romance. I know I was reading like a lot of like YA romance and contemporary before then, but like I took a hard left into adult romance and here we are now.
Yeah.
So
At one point I remember thinking I think I will ever stop reading YA, and then I
me
just
too.
I just now I don't see myself ever reading unless it's by an author that I've read from before and I really, really enjoyed their books.
Well, you know what happened, right? Our frontal lobes developed. We became adults.
Uh,
um but I mean there's definitely some stuff that's like nostalgic that like continuing on with the Divergent example, I never reread the series. This is the first time I've been doing a reread in since I originally read it. So it's been 13 years. And when I was reading the first one, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going through this really quick. Like this is like I remember this. I got all this. But then I was reading the second one, and I was like, I don't remember shit that happened in this book. And I was like, I can't remember how the series ends, besides the major thing. But I don't know. This is
yeah.
just yeah, there's just some authors that we'll always just fall back on. And we're gonna give Maren Moore a second chance.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, let's go ahead and do our final thoughts on this book, and then we'll talk about September with your book.
Okay. So I gave this book 2 stars. I don't think there's anything, if you are a sports romance reader, and especially with characters who are at a younger age, like college age, I think this is the book for you. For me personally, I don't know what it was. I just got irritated because I felt like I've read this book 100 times before. It's the same formula with a bubbly main female character and a brooding, more serious male main character with a dark past, and they get together and the blah blah, it's the same formula that I've read before, and so I just got irritated with the book. I felt like I was rereading a story that I wasn't impressed with in the first place. So I did give this book 2 stars. I will read other books by this author, but I probably will not read I will probably try to read something that she wrote that's not a sports romance. I will probably try to read something different. Chloe said that she wrote might have written some cozy romances. I will try to read that, or some small town romances. I am willing to read those. But overall, it's not a bad book. If you like that formula, you will enjoy this book. I just did not. Because for me, it was mostly the main characters. They just felt really, really juvenile, and I felt like the story wasn't very cohesive. As we spoke about, it had the main plot line, and then the main characters got together, and it became all about that. And then there was a little hiccup towards the end, which got resolved within like 2 or 3 chapters. So I gave it 2 stars. I don't think it's necessarily a terrible book if you like that formula, but it wasn't for me. So 2 stars.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what was said. I'm giving it 3.5 stars, but that's honestly just a little bit step up from okay for me. The formula, we've read it before, and this time, like normally it doesn't bother me. This time it was just like it's too similar to something else that I'd read, and I just wasn't really fully feeling it. But overall, 3.5 stars. That's not a terrible rating for me. And I'll definitely be reading more from Maren Moore in the future. I just don't know where I'm going to land with that. But yeah, 3.5 stars for Red Card. So let's talk about next month. For our September book, we are going to be reading Summer in the City by Alex Astor. The reason that I said earlier that this could go one of two ways is this definitely feels very lighthearted. I think as we're transitioning into fall, we're going to wrap up with this summer book, although it's always really summer here in Florida. But Alex Astor primarily wrote I don't even know if I would call it romantasy series, but the Lightlark series. Did you ever finish that series?
No, I have all the books, but I've never read beyond like the first book.
I've only read book one. We read it for this book club a couple of years ago, and I kind of had mixed thoughts about it. But this is
I was the only one who really liked it.
Yeah. Well, there was a thing about her writing that kind of irritated me, but this is her first like contemporary romance. So we'll see. I own the book now, so I hope I fucking like it. And it's got the nice edges on it. But for this book, we are going to be discussing it on Sunday, September 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern on this channel. Follow us on Instagram at Booktube Chicks for all the information we're going to be posting about this book, as well as Pages and Pals, which I'm going to talk about next. Pages and Pals will be a little bit different in September, just because we got a bunch of different things going on. So we're going to be meeting on Thursday, September 17th at 8 p.m. Eastern. That's over on Kathleen's channel, which is linked in the description below. But yeah, I think that's everything that we have going on next month. Make sure to follow us again at Booktube Chicks for all the information. Follow me on Instagram at Brunette Bibliophile. Follow her at For the Love of Books and Reading. And we will see you next month to discuss Summer in the City by Alex Astor. Bye.